Hey everyone, so I took a shower, so that's why my hair is up and it's a bit wet. Which is kind of weird because I am still like basically wearing makeup. And I have like the clothes I have on, I wear all year, which is a little bit strange, but I am. So if you haven't figured out by the title of this video, I'm going to talk about kind of like my, I guess, journey and trying to figure out like my sexuality and stuff like that. So when I was like younger, I did like identify as being straight because I only found like guys like attractive, and I do admit I was a bit some boy crazy when I was younger, and for like when I was like a kid, talking to the guys that I found attractive wasn't that difficult. As I got older though, I would like think about like just like saying like hi and stuff like that, and I couldn't even like say hi. I couldn't even get the words out. Um, but when it came to people who I already knew that and was comfortable with, those kind of guys and stuff like that, I had no problem talking to them, which is interesting. Of course, like I never was talking to them because like we were like friends, but also was like attracted to them kind of way. But luckily, the ones that I wasn't friends with, that I find attracted to, the people I grew up that I finally was able to like have a conversation, say hi. Um, and I guess like in my mind back then, like the realm of like you know finding girls attractive and being attracted to girls, it just never really came across me. That it was until like years back when I was like in my early 20s. I went to Silver Safari, and that was like when I was like getting like my ears pierced and stuff like that, and I was getting like a nose pierced. That's a whole thing too that I experienced. And not yes, I obviously do not have a nose piercing. There was a story to that. I can make a video of that if you guys want to know my experience with having a nose piercing and why I don't have my nose piercing now. But there was this like person that was like girl, but obviously like I laid them. She was like they were like boyish in a way, and I was like, I find this person attractive, and I was confused because I never like until that point experienced that before of like someone who is obviously doesn't identify as a girl, but was like obviously born as a girl, you know. And then I started watching female wrestling with my dad, and it's like these women are like very attractive, they're attractive, they're strong, attractive women. And then it's like, oh, role model women, they're also strong women, they're also usually very attractive. And then my dad's like, oh, he likes the Western girls, but he also likes the figure skating girls. And if I was like, yeah, I guess I kind of see them, not like really pretty and stuff like that. And then we saw Stars on Ice, like, oh yeah, I know you're talking about that. I do fully do agree. They are very beautiful women. I'm so attracted to guys too. But I was like, okay, like everyone has to have like a label nowadays, like what they are, what their sexual identity is, and stuff like that. And so I did a quiz, and the quiz basically means that like based on my results of how I answered, that I was ace a asexual and stuff like that. And for people who don't know what asexual is, mm, I have it on my phone because I was on a dating app. And there were guys who did not know what that was. A guy actually had to look it up. So, asexual or ace refers to people who do not experience sexual attraction towards others, as well as people who experience limited or conditional sexual attraction relate to the label asexual more than other sexual identity terms. They may experience other forms of attraction, such as romantic, sensual, or aesthetic attraction. Asexuality is sexual orientation, not a behavioral choice, no condition. Asexuality is part of asexual spectrum. Basically, what I did look up though, when I wrote, is that it's like I'm not like I'm like more like an emotional attraction than a sexual attraction, at least for me. At least for me. That's what I got from asexuality. And like, okay, yeah, like I'm not interested in sex. I'm not interested in having sex. Sex makes sex and physical intimacy of any sort, sexual or not sexual, makes me uncomfortable. And then I talked to my therapist. She's not. They were like not that kind of like therapist, like the sex therapist or anything like that. She was just a regular therapist. But she's like, okay, based off like what you're telling me, like you do like want to someday maybe have sex with someone, but you want to have like an emotional kind of relationship first. You don't want to have like sexual attention. Well, be like the sex is like the primary factor. No, you just want to have like stuff like kind of like an emotional relationship. Get to know the person first and get comfortable with them. And then if you end up and then something develops along the way and it could possibly lead to sex and yes. Like yeah. Okay, that makes I guess maybe sense. And what they told me, demisexual. Demisexual most often defines as only experiencing sexual attraction when an emotional connection or bond has formed with someone. The nature of that emotional bond varies by person, but possibilities include friendship or romance. It may or may not even, may or may not loving the other person. But basically, it's like you start kind of like as friends. If something builds along the way, and you do end up dating, and you feel comfortable enough with a person with like, you know, like like probably like not saying of like sex, but like like physical, like touching in other ways, like snuggling or cuddling, holding hands, that kind of stuff, like kind of like sweet stuff, and then maybe it goes towards more like in a sexual direction, and it's like. Okay, I am completely confused because I found one thing. I thought it was one thing, and then someone's like saying like, "You most likely this thing," and so it's like I feel like thought I had like it figured out like who I am, and it's like no, I have no freaking idea who I am and like what's what I want to put a label on it, what the label would be. I have no idea. Do I find men attractive? Yes. Do I find women attractive? Yes. Do I want to have sex with a male or woman? Not particularly. Sex makes me feel kind of icky. Making out makes me feel kind of icky. Kissing makes me feel kind of icky. I don't like to see on TV, movies, TV shows. I don't like to see it. Even when I read like books that have like sexual things and stuff like that, and like the one, what is it? It's like but I do like use like a lot of words, and one of them, like the visual idea of it happening makes me go. Is the other term for come. And the thing that I have, which is like a kind of like it's like dating kind of like story choice thing. They use it a lot. And it's like I don't need to know that. I don't need to know like when things go into things and oh no. 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 I try to like skim through that part and get past that as soon as possible. So that makes me uncomfortable. Does it mean like I don't like have dreams? Like sure. But am I the person performing these acts in the dream? No. I came up with this like perfect ideal woman. And that's how I do the even like I can't even like dream about like doing it to myself. I had to come up with like a person for that to happen. And even I don't try to get too graphic when it comes to that kind of stuff in my dreams. So, yeah, TMI. But yeah, like that's just like the one idea is just like no, it makes me like just uncomfortable. Do I like I want to get to a place where like I'm in a relationship with someone and like that idea like I'm like no longer feeling uncomfortable because I trust this person. They and I know they're not gonna like try to like, you know, push anything, like try to like rush anything. Like they understand like okay, like let's take our time, let's do it one step at a time. And if I want to get to the point I believe I would be vanilla as heck. Just so freaking vanilla. Like, probably, like, maybe if it wasn't, like, the explain vanilla, like, maybe vanilla bean? But still vanilla. And I was like and my mom's like, "There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that." And it's true, there isn't. Well, I just need to, like when I do am in a place where, like, dating is an option again, yeah, starting out with friends, seeing how it goes, and if it does go to that point, when we do get to the point where, like, we do talk about sex and stuff like that, if it's a girl, if it's a boy, if it's a they, them, trans, whatever the person is, because for me, it doesn't really matter if they are male or woman, if they were born male or woman, it does not matter to me. What matters to me is just who they are as, a person, like who they are inside. It doesn't matter who they were before that or anything like that. Um, that doesn't matter to me. It just matters like who they are as, like I said, as a person. And if like my kind of, beliefs and some things fit with this. Because like if I want to have children, I would want them to like be able to like come to me and like open up, like if they're like the gay or the trans and stuff like that. I was like they're confused and they need just someone to talk to. Like I want to be that person that they can talk to. Um and I want the partner that I'm with for them to also be able to talk to them. So but yes, that is that. I was recommended by my last therapist to talk to someone who is in the field of talking to that. And maybe talking to someone will help me come with like idea of like who I am, who my sexual identity is, what kind of steps I could get to like be more comfortable and open to physical intimacy in the future. But right now I am mainly just wanting to like do stuff and make friends. Because I need friends. I am the only friend I have is my cat. My best friend's my cat. I hope you enjoyed this video. The next videos, I am going to get back to Vampire Therapist, and I am going to get back to the convenience store game. Am I going to finish either of those games on my channel? I'm hoping, but that just really depends on how if people are interested in it. Because I have saw games that have been like either no views or just very low views, and so it's like okay, I'm just not gonna continue playing this game on my channel because no one seems really interested in watching me play it. Um, and it kind of feels like that's kind of going on with these two games. I'm gonna give like a little bit of a more of a go, and if it still shows that no one's really interested in it, then I'm probably just gonna have to play them on my own time. This is one game that came out that I think is public for my channel since I'm basically a cat. It is a cat themed game, and I hope that you guys honestly find that game absolutely adorable because I found the demo absolutely adorable. It involves another game where the cat does meow. It's a no cat, guys. But yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me being a little bit open, a little TMI. But that's just who I am. And if you got a problem with that, well, cat. I'm sorry. I just don't care. That's your problem, not my problem. Watch someone else if you don't really care that. I got my TMI stuff from my mom. Thank you, Mother VC. Mother Cat. For that. Alright, I love you guys. I hope you guys had a great 4th of July. I hope you guys are surviving the summer. I'm hardly surviving the summer. So So it's probably he's wanna go too. But that doesn't stop him from wanting to go outside and wake me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. All right. Bye, guys.